For today's class, we'll get started on our back. And taking the time to find a position that offers you a sense of support. And if you need to modify in any way, bring a pillow for the head or something underneath the knees. Go ahead and get comfortable, get relaxed. And slowly let the weight of your body transfer over onto your mat. Releasing the grip of your muscles. Allow the eyes, the tongue to drop back. Let the muscles around your forehead and cheeks soften. Feel your jaw unhinge and feel heavy as you soften the throat. Relaxing into the shoulders, the arms. And finding support for the length of your spine as you release the lower back and the hips. Softening into the back of your knees. And relaxing the ankles and the toes. Let's take a moment here and scan the body from head to toe. And see if you can release any obvious tension that stands out. Just getting as relaxed as you can. Taking in information from your biggest organ, your skin. Noticing the temperature of the air around you. Noticing if there's a wind or a breeze or a fan blowing that you can feel on your skin. And see if you can notice the texture of the clothes that you're wearing, of the mat underneath you. Just noticing whatever your body is in contact with. Feel free to have your arms open beside you or place your hands on your chest and belly for a little bit more grounding. And we'll start to bring awareness to our breathing. See if you can bring your mind's eye to the tip of your nose. Feel the air as it moves in through your body. Travels down into your lungs. And travels back up and exits through the nose or the mouth. And feeling the subtle movements that happen with each breath. See if you can feel your lungs filling up, inflating and deflating with each breath. Feeling your rib cage expanding and contracting. Allow your breath to go a little deeper down into the belly. Letting the inhales get fuller and longer. And the exhales get deeper and slower. As you breathe out, pull the belly button down and towards the spine. And exhale all the air from your torso. And as you take these deeper breaths, notice how the breath feels inside your body. Noticing perhaps any impingement that you might feel, any restriction in your breath. Breathing into your sides, breathing into your lower back, breathing into your chest and the collarbones. Continue breathing deeply and slowly, really letting your breath expand, let it fill your awareness. As you let go of thoughts outside of your practice, really connecting with your body, with your breath in the present moment. Meeting yourself where you are right now. And for today's class, we'll focus a little bit more on the back, looking to find relief for any back pain in the lower, middle, or the upper back, looking for stretches and ways to strengthen different parts of the muscles in the back. And throughout the class, see if you can stay connected to your breath. If you need to modify or take a break at any point, please feel free to do so. We're going to start to find small movements in the fingers and the toes as you wake up your body. Stay connected to your breath and allow your breath to feel natural. Let's bring the hands up overhead, feet together. And we're going to stretch the body. Take an inhale to reach as far as you can. And exhale to relax into that space. Nice morning stretch. Inhale, reach with your fingers, reach with your toes. And exhale. Settling into that space. From here, we're going to bend the knees, lifting your feet one at a time, and plant the feet on the mat, hip-width distance apart. Arms are still stretched up overhead. We're going to flip the hands so your palms are facing up. We're going to drive down through the feet, lifting your seat off the mat, picking up your spine as you come into a modified bridge. Extending up through your tailbone, core is active as you pull the belly button in, strong through your midsection, strong through your pelvis area. And from here, we're going to start to lift up the right side of the shoulders, shoulder blades. So lifting up the right side and then reaching the right hand closer towards the left. If you want, you can even place your right hand on top of the left as you peel off the right side of your shoulders. Still driving down through both feet. And inhale, come back. I'm bringing your shoulders in contact with the mat one more time. Keep your feet driving down. Stay lifted through the hips, active through the core. And then this time we pick up the left side of the shoulders off the mat. And reaching towards the right hand, maybe even a little bit beyond that if you have the movement, if you have the mobility. Looking to keep your pelvis as level as you can. And bringing movement, bringing mobility into the upper half of the spine. Keep breathing. And inhale to rest your shoulders down on the mat and then releasing your spine, releasing your seat. As your seat comes down, lift the knees into the chest, wrap the arms around the shins. We're going to tuck into a tight ball here. rounding into your spine as you bring the nose between the knees, squeezing the arms around your shins. And then from here, releasing your spine, your shoulders, and head onto the mat. Arms resting beside the body as your feet touch down. Touch the heels with your fingertips, setting up into a bridge. And then push down through your hands, push down through the feet. We're going to lift the seat off the mat, lifting your chest up into the chin. If you want, you can roll your shoulders underneath, interlacing the fingers together as you really expand across your chest, driving down through both feet at the same time, lifting your hips up higher and extending your tailbone in the direction of your knees. Pressing down through the back of the head and the shoulders, and feeling that length from the back of the neck all the way through your spine towards the tip of the tailbone. If your hands are together, let's release them. Moving the hands from underneath the body as you bring your spine and seat down. One more time, we're going to lift the knees into your chest, wrap the arms around the shins, and tuck into a tight ball. We're going to rock a little bit side to side here, staying in this rounded back position, going side to side and coming back to center. Releasing the head and shoulders down. Bring the hands to the back of your thighs. We're going to push the heels up towards the ceiling, flexing the ankle and toes down towards you. Feel that stretch in the back of the legs, keeping your tailbone firmly in contact with the mat. So the lower back is pressed down, using the hands to pull the thighs towards you as you push up through the heels, pull down through the toes. Here we're going to bend the knees, take your knees wider than the chest, bringing the arms on the inside of your thighs with your peace fingers, grabbing hold of the big toes. As you grab hold of the big toes, start to pull down and push away and up through the heels. If you're not able to grab your big toes, you can grab your ankle, you can grab your shins, whatever's accessible here. Try to have your arms pressing against the inner thighs. And again, noticing your tailbone, see if you can keep it pressed down so the whole of your lower back is in contact with the mat. Rocking side to side from here, just opening up the hips, creating some space. Breathing into that space. Soles of the feet face up. Back of the arms and shoulders pressed down onto the mat. Rocking side to side, maybe semicircles. And we come back. Taking the arms out to the sides with your palms facing up. Knees come together, feet are together. As you exhale from here, lower the knees down to the right side. Continue looking up, or maybe look towards your outstretched left hand as you take that right hand option to place it on top of the left thigh, coming into your supine twist and adding a little bit of gentle downward pressure through that right hand. Ooh. If you're experiencing any kind of back pain and you want to modify, please go ahead and do so. Sometimes it might be useful to have some support underneath your leg here, maybe a cushion or a block, so maybe the ground doesn't feel quite so far away from you. If it feels good, you can continue to press that right hand down onto your thigh, breathing deep into your hip here, releasing the spine. This time, your shoulders are in contact with the mat, and you're finding mobility, movement through the lower half of the spine. On the next breath in, we're going to lift the knees back up to center as you engage through the core, extending your right arm beside you. And then on the exhale, lower the left knees to the left side. Again, option to modify however you wish to here, making it more accessible, more intense. Paying attention to the back of your shoulders, especially on the right side. Make sure your arm stays in contact with the mat, as well as the back of the shoulder. Look to have your pelvis facing off to the side with your right sit bone stacking over the left. If your knees can come to stack on top of each other, that's great. If not, it's all good. Make sure you're breathing. Anytime you're twisting, look to keep the spine as long as you can. Nice and easy with the breath. On the next breath in, we pull the knees back into center. Bring the hands onto your kneecaps. So it's going to rotate the back of the sacrum on the mat. Going in both directions. Beautiful. Let's keep the knees where they are. We're going to bring the shins to be about parallel to the ground. Lift the arms up over the shoulders. Knees stay on top of the hips. And we're going to do a movement here known as dead bug. How it goes is you use alternate arm, alternate leg. The thing to really pay attention to here is you want to make sure your hand cannot squeeze underneath your lower back here. So make sure your lower back stays pressed down onto the mat. You have your lower belly pulled in through the belly button. So core stays active. The lower back stays in contact with the mat. And then we go alternate arm, alternate leg. So we'll start with left leg, right arm. Straighten the left leg and reach the right arm behind you. As you inhale, exhale, pull them in together to the starting position. Then inhale, right arm, left leg. Exhale, pull it together. Now, as you make that movement happen, notice your lower back. See if anything starts to shift or lift. And you want to try to keep your lower back pressed down onto the mat. Really what we're doing here is keeping the core active. Stay breathing. Inhale to extend, exhale to pull it in. As we're looking to train the postural muscles here to maintain stability in the pelvis, to maintain stability in the trunk, the region of our body, while we're actively looking to challenge that by extending the arms. So you're maintaining strength, maintaining stability, while at the same time challenging by reaching and increasing how far your wingspan or your leg and arm span can go here. Notice if one side feels a little different than the other. Really maintaining awareness of how this pose, how this movement feels inside the body. Maintain the connection with your breathing. Notice if you start to feel some fatiguing happening. If that's the case, where is that fatiguing happening? Do you feel any shaking happening? We'll keep going for a few more breaths. We started with right arm, left leg, and we'll end with the left arm, right leg. The next time you bring your left arm, right leg in together, it's relaxed. Let your feet drop down, let the arms rest beside the body. We're back into bridge position. Tickle the heels with your fingertips and press up through your feet, through the hands, lifting your seat up and extending through your tailbone. And as you lift your hips up, as you drive the hips up into your bridge, focusing on pulling your belly button in, engaging through the midsection and extending your tailbone up and away. So that again, we're looking to keep the muscles in the midsection active. As you continue to drive up through the hips, stretching out the front body, lifting up your chest. Then slowly easing the spine back down. From here, we're going to come onto our side and then pressing down with one hand, lifting up slowly, and then transitioning onto your mat into tabletop. As you find your way into tabletop, spreading your fingers, palms are flat, shoulders over wrists, and the hips are over the knees. Toes are tucked under. We'll start off with a regular cat and cow, exhaling all the air from your body. And then as you inhale, arching into the low back, draw the belly down, pull the shoulders away from you as you look forward or look up. And then exhale to tuck down through your tailbone, round through your spine, pushing the floor away, bringing the chin to the chest. Inhale into your back bend. Start the movement from the tailbone, ending with the head. And then exhale, again, starting the movement at the base of the spine, and then let that wave of movement travel through the spine. Going at your own pace with your breath. Inhale, back bend. And exhale to round the spine. Now, highly recommend doing this set of movement every single day. You want to try and move your spine in all different planes of movement as you can. So spinal flexion and extension, which is what we're doing here. Spinal rotation, which is what we did earlier. And then also looking to have lateral movement into your spine. The more mobile we can keep our spine, the better it is as we age and maintain function. The next time you come into your rounded back position, we're going to hold that position. I want you to just stay here, pushing the floor away, chin to your chest. Stay really nice and full into your upper and mid back, and rock a little side to side. Just try to press out through your side ribs. Maybe even into your hips if you like. Going from one side to the other. Still breathing. And let's start to come back to center. Beautiful. All right, from here, we're going to lower down onto our forearms. Elbows underneath the shoulders. From here, let's press our head down onto the mat. And bring it as close to the mat as you can. And then once you do that, I'd like you to push into your forearms. And just like we did in cat back, try to really fill up into your back body. So with the top of the head reaching down towards the mat, it doesn't have to be in contact with the mat. You can totally lift it off. In fact, I recommend once you found that connection to lift the head off the mat as you fill up into your back body. Once you're here, start to lean forward. So stay with that rounded back and then lean forward, letting your shoulders go past the elbows with your head still reaching down towards the mat, leaning forward, and then press into your forearms and come back. So the movement is pretty small here. We're not moving a whole lot, but what we're looking to do, here is stretch into the upper back muscles. So your trap muscles, even the rhomboids a little bit. So with your elbows underneath your shoulders, with your spine rounded, start to lean forward, leaning forward, leaning forward. And as you feel that stretch into the upper and mid back, breathe into that stretch and then come back. Let's do that one more time. Elbows over shoulders, top of the head facing down towards the mat, rounding through your upper and mid back, nice and full through that region, and then leaning forward. Elbows going past, or shoulders going past the elbows rather. So there's a few things going on. We're not only stretching up into the upper back, but we're also strengthening different parts of the shoulder girdle. We're strengthening into the lat muscles here, which again, bring in a lot of stability through the trunk. Coming back, really nice. And from here, let's take the knees mat width distance apart, bring the feet together. We're going to send the seat back and transition into child's pose. Resting your forehead on the mat, relaxing into your shoulders, into the upper back. Releasing your seat down into the heels as well. And while staying in your child's pose, what I'd like you to start to do is just move your hips from one side to the other. So pressing your hips side to side. Again, keeping your forehead or chin, whichever you prefer, on the mat. Your elbows and hands are on the mat. So this is that lateral movement that I was mentioning. So we're trying to get the lower half of the spine to start moving laterally. Imagine if your spine was like a tail. You're trying to wag that tail from side to side. Keep breathing. Finding a breathing pattern that feels rhythmic, that feels natural. As you continue to move your hips from side to side, see if you start to notice more space through that range of motion. And then start to come back towards center. Press into the hands, lifting your forehead or chin off the mat. From here on the exhale, walk the hands over to the right side, taking the hands as far off to the side as you can. And then once more, push the hips to the left and find that stretch through the side body here. Reaching your left hand further to the right if there's space and pushing your hips over to the left side. And the next breath in, walking the hands back to center, and then exhale, walk the hands in the opposite direction, pushing your hips to the right side. And staying with this stretch. Taking that right hand a little further over if you can, if there's space available. And inhale, walking the hands back to center. Pressing into the hands, lifting yourself out of your child's pose. And from here, we're going to bring the knees and the feet together. Sitting in Vajrasana, setting up for spinal twist. So with your knees together, your feet are on the mat. If your top of the feet feel uncomfortable, you can tuck your toes under like so. From here, taking the right hand behind you, left hand on the opposite knee. Inhale to get taller. Exhale, twisting. Yeah, I'm just going to shift this over a little bit. All right. That should be a little bit better, I hope. There we go. Okay. Right hand goes behind you, left hand on the opposite knee. Inhale to get taller, and then exhale to twist, looking past your right shoulder. And again, it's important to try to keep your seat as heavy on the heels here as you can, so the pelvis stays level facing the front of your mat, and then we're twisting in the upper half of the spine. So tailbone neutral, reaching down. Seat is heavy on the heels, using that left hand, right leg connection to help you twist deeper. Inhale, grow taller. Exhale, twist. From here, we're going to start to walk that right hand a little further back and plant that hand firmly down onto the mat. We're going to push down through that hand, lifting the hips up, and at the same time, lifting your left hand up and reaching into the back right corner of the mat as well. So as you drive up through the hips, again, twisting into your torso and reaching with your fingers top left. Try to use that bottom hand to help you lift the chest as well. Shifting your gaze up towards your left palm, perhaps. And inhale, come back. Beautiful. From here, we set up to the other side. Left hand goes back. You can stay propped up on the fingertips in the beginning. Right hand on the opposite knee. Inhale to grow taller. Exhale to twist. Look past the left shoulder. Again, sometimes we tend to start arching into the low back here. You want to try to release that arching and just feel heavy in the seat. Tailbone neutral. Inhale to grow taller. Exhale to twist deeper. From here, start to walk your left hand back, planting that hand down onto the mat. Nice strong grip placement here. Lift the hips, lift the chest, right hand reaching up and back. And then releasing back onto the mat. From this position, we bring the hands in front of us, elbows are together, forearms lifting away from the face, elbows at the height of the shoulders. With your fingertips pressed together on the inhale, lift up into your chest, lift up into the elbows, and then exhale to round into the spine as you reach the elbows towards your knees. So we're still staying full through the upper and mid back. We're not collapsing into that part here. As you inhale, lift the elbows up and away. And as you exhale, pull the elbows down and away. Inhale, reaching the elbows up. And exhale, reaching the elbows down. One last time, inhale. And exhale. As you come into that exhale position, release the arms down beside you. Bring the hands onto the mat and start to walk the hands forward. And we take the hands to the front of the mat, taking the feet to the back, transitioning into a supported plank with your hips leaning forward, shoulders over the wrists, fingers spread, palms are flat. Relax into the hips here. Come onto the tops of the feet. Bring a slight bend into the elbows and then transition into baby cobra as you roll your shoulders back. Feel the chest pulling in front of the shoulders here. Draw the shoulders as far away from the ears as you can, spreading across your collarbones. Take the gaze forward, maybe up to the sky if that feels good, and squeeze the elbows into the ribs with the eyes of the elbows facing forward. Breathing here, stretching through your front body. And then slowly bend the elbows as you release your chest and chin down onto the mat. Settling onto your mat here. We're going to bring the feet together as you take your knees mat width distance apart. Let the inner edges of your feet come to find rest. Hands can stay where they are, elbows over the wrists. From here, I'm going to try to lift my knees off the mat just a few inches, engaging through the low back and glutes. And see if I can lift the toes up towards the sky, knees lift off, and then release back down. Continue going at your own pace, lifting and releasing. Now, if you have any acute lower back pain, this might not be the right move, and you can totally modify. You can stay with your legs down and maybe try doing one leg at a time, or have your knees bent and then one leg at a time. But again, listen to your body here. This should not cause you any kind of sharp acute pain when you lift. And feel free to lift and hold if you want to, or you can lift and lower as well. Keeping the feet together. If you want, you can also start to use the hands to push down and lift the chin and chest off as well. Keep breathing. Let's release, relaxing your feet back down. Extend the arms beside the body. Turning your palms to face up. Just taking a moment here to breathe. Bringing the hands onto your back, onto the back of your sacrum. Placing your hands with your palms facing up, one hand over the other. And from here, what I like you to do is bring awareness to the heads of your shoulders. So where your arm bones insert into your torso, that's the head of the shoulder. And start off by having the heads of your shoulders in contact with the mat. And what I want you to do from here is lift the heads of your shoulders off the mat as you feel your shoulder blades behind you pulling together. So your scapula, your shoulder blades, as they retract, as they come together, they pull the shoulders back. And I want you to just move through that range of motion a few times here. So shoulder blades protract, they come away from each other. Your shoulders come to find contact with the mat. Upon retraction, your shoulders lift off the mat. So try to go through that range of motion at your own pace. And it's not just mobility that we're working on here. It's also strengthening your rhomboid muscles, the ones that pull the shoulder blades together. The stronger they are, the more evenly set your shoulders are throughout the day. As oftentimes the chest muscles are a little bit stronger for a lot of us, and the shoulders tend to round forward. But having your back muscles be equally strong helps to keep the shoulders in a neutral position. And if you're not used to this range of motion, to this exercise, you might start to feel quite a bit of fatiguing happening early on. And if you're used to it, maybe you start to feel it after a few reps. We'll still keep going though. Try to really squeeze the shoulder blades together at the top of the movement, and then relaxing until the heads of the shoulders come back in contact with the mat. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and relax. Now from here, I'd like you to switch the grip of your hand so your palms and fingers come together, and you can interlace the fingers. Now, if that's uncomfortable, you can grab onto opposite elbows instead. But if you're able to interlace your fingers together, from here, we're gonna lift the hands up and away from the body. And once more, you're gonna squeeze your shoulder blades together and try to lift the hands up as high as possible. So this time it's more about the range of motion and not so much about strengthening those muscles, but rather keeping them in that retracted position and trying to stay here and lift the hands up as high as you can. Wherever you start to feel any kind of pain or discomfort, you can pull back or pull out. But if you're able to breathe comfortably, see if you can stay in this position. And as you spend more time, notice if the shoulders open up and give you more access. Breathing 3, 2, and 1. Releasing the hands down and then letting the arms come to rest beside you. From here, we're going to flip the hands so your palms are now down onto the mat. Your feet are about mat width distance. And first, we're just going to lift the arms up and squeeze the shoulder blades together. So keep your shoulder blades squeezed together, arms reaching up beside you like the wings of an airplane. And let's lift the chin and chest off the mat, coming into a back bend here with your chest off the mat. If you want to, you can lift the legs as well, engaging the muscles in your back body. And then from here, we're going to bend the elbows so your thumbs end up beside you here. We're going to do a breathing exercise. On an inhale, I'm going to extend my arms out about 45 degrees. And then as I exhale, I'm going to squeeze the elbows in and curl my hands into tight fists. So if you want, you can keep the feet lifted for this or bring your feet down, totally up to you. Inhale, reach. Exhale. Breathing in and out through the nose. Next time your elbows come beside the ribs, pause here. Bring the hands down, bring your feet down. From here, we're going to take the knees mat width distance, bend the knees, bring the inner edges of your feet together, and then push into the hands, lifting your chest, belly, and top of the thighs off at the same time. Then sending your seat back as we transition into child's pose, resting your forehead on the mat. Press into the hands, lifting up from here, coming into a tabletop. Beautiful. In your tabletop, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, spreading your fingers. Let's tuck the toes under for a little bit more stability. Now we're going to do the opposite of dead bugs. We're going to do, or not the opposite, we're going to do the same thing, except now we're on our hands and knees. So we're going to start with the right leg, left arm. Kick your right leg back, extend your left arm forward. As you exhale, pull it in. Inhale, reach. Exhale, bring it in. 5 times total. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last time. Inhale. Exhale. And release. Back into your tabletop. Readjust as needed. And then right arm, left leg. Inhale, extend. Exhale, bring it in. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And we release. Beautiful. Toes are tucked under, knees are hip width distance apart. Walk the hands towards the body. We're going to rise up, hands run to the lower back, setting up into half camel. As you push the pelvis forward, open up into the chest. As you squeeze the elbows closer towards each other behind you, look up to the sky, maybe let the head drop back. If that feels good, make sure this feels good for your spine. There's lots of space in the lower back with your tailbone reaching down and slightly forward. Hips staying on top of the knees, breathing here. Lifting the right hand up to the ear. Inhale, straightening up your spine. Exhale, bringing both hands onto the mat and then rounding into the spine. Beautiful. From here, we step the right foot forward. And I'm just going to switch sides so I can continue seeing you. We step the right foot forward, setting up into a lunge. Fingers coming together onto the right thigh as you sink low through your pelvis. Let's have the toes tucked under. And we're going to take the back knee off the mat. Settling yourself into a lunge. Look to have the front leg as close to 90 as you can. And then taking the hands off the mat, shoulders over the hips. From here, what I like to do is bend the back knee a little bit. So we're going to bend that back knee, but not rest it on the ground, just about halfway through. And now I'm going to reach my right hand up and my left hand, I'm going to try to reach it down. If I can grab the back of my thigh, that's cool. If you want to take the hand further, maybe towards the ankle, you can try that, whichever feels good. And then from here, kind of like what we did earlier in that twist with our hips lifting, try to keep your backhand as light on your leg as you can, lifting into the chest. And then come back. Beautiful. Straightening up that back knee. We're going to transition to warrior 2. Opening up the hips, opening up the chest, arms reaching in opposite directions. As you bend into that front knee, look past that hand. On an inhale, straightening out the front leg, we transition Trikonasana, pulling your right hip back, right hand reaching forward. Maintain space in the sides of your torso. Right hand comes down, left arm reaching up. Transition to maybe looking up at your left thumb, finding your focus, your drishti. Staying balanced through both of your feet. On an inhale, lifting up through that left hand. Hands onto your waist. We're going to pick up the front toes, pivoting on that heel. Both feet parallel, facing in the same direction. Beautiful. From here, we're going to move from one side to the other. So as you exhale, bending into one knee. Inhale, come back center. Exhale, bending into the other knee. Now we're gonna go side to side and add in a variation if you want to. So when you bend the knee, bring the hand that's on that side close to the knee, and then open the chest, reaching the other arm to the top. Inhale, center. Exhale, open. Inhale, center. Exhale, open. You know, whichever side you started with, when you get to the opposite side, pause, come to the middle, and then lift back up. From here, we're going to lift the heels and then turn the heels in so your toes naturally turn out. We're going to set up into a wide-legged squat, known as goddess pose, also known as horse stance. Lots of different names you can call it, but the idea here is that your hips and your toes are open at about a 45-degree angle. Your knees are close to stacking on top of the ankles, and you're in a squat. So you will have a bit of stretch going on through the inner thighs here. Your hips are rotating outward like so. We're dropping into the seat. Core is active, lower belly pulled in. You can rest your hands onto your thighs. You can have your hands together at chest center. So I'm gonna hang out here for a few moments. Again, what we're looking to do here is maintain activation through the midsection. So your core is slightly braced as if you're about to get punched. Not flexing, but just the belly button is pulled in. Breathing here, maybe a bit of shaking happening in your thighs here. 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Let's walk the feet in a little bit closer. Still about mat width distance, hands on your hips, and we're gonna do some hip rotations. Going in both directions. All right, beautiful. Now we're gonna set up for a lunge on the other side. So we started with the right side first. You're gonna start up for a lunge on the left side, bending into that knee. Let's lower the back knee onto the mat for now. Getting into the hip flexors, relaxing into the shoulders, relaxing into the pelvis. Feel free to take a sip of water at any point. From here, we're gonna tuck the back toes under if they're not already, and take that back knee off the mat. So find yourself into a strong lunge, lift the shoulders on top of the hips, front leg close to 90, and the back knee is strong for the moment, all right? From here, we're gonna start to bend that back leg, and then left hand's gonna reach up, draw the shoulder down the back, and your back hand goes onto the thigh, closer towards the ankle, whichever you can access. And then reaching back. Stay lifted in the chest, staying as light on that back hand as you can. You want to be able to even float that hand off. And then lifting up, transition warrior 2. Looking past the left hand, rotating both of your hips externally, heel to heel or heel to mid-arch alignment between your feet. Then bend into that front leg, push down to the back leg. Breathe here. 3, 2, 1. Inhale, straighten the front leg, tucking that hip in, reach your left hand forward. On the exhale, left hand reaching down, right arm reaching up. Trikonasana. Fix your gaze, breathe, and extend through the sides of your torso. Extend across your wingspan. The next breath in, lifting your hands up, hands onto the hips, picking up the front toes and pivoting on the heel, both toes facing in the same direction. Beautiful. We're going to go side to side one more time, this time adding the modification of picking up the toes of the straight leg and flexing them back. So you go off to one side and the other foot flexes up. Now with this, you can get a little bit more into the hamstrings, but if you don't feel like this is a good variation for you, feel free to do the same thing we did earlier. Exhale to bend, inhale to center, exhale to bend. The other thing to keep in mind as well is when you're bending into that knee is not going way past your toes. You want to try and send the seat back a little bit. So your pelvis is actually moving back and you're using your torso as counterbalance. So your chest stays lifted. Whichever side you started with, when you get to the other side, make that your last, and we come back to the middle. Bringing the heels in, toes turned out, and we're in our goddess squat. So we're gonna bring the hands onto the inner thighs with your fingers pointing down. Settle into this pose. I'm gonna try to stay as long in my torso as I can, and dropping down from one side. Try to drive that shoulder down towards the mat. Inhale, come back center. Exhale, other side. Inhale, center. Exhale. Again, we're trying to get into the back of the shoulders while adding a bit of a rotation for the spine as well. Whichever side you started with, when you get to the other side, make that your last one. When you come back, let's hang out in our wide stance. Try to quiet the breath here, even though your muscles are active. Try to send your breath down into the belly, relax into the shoulders, open into the chest, breathing here, maybe closing the eyes. Feel the strength in your legs. It's the legs and your midsection that are doing the work here. Your upper body, your torso can relax. Breathe for 3, 2, and 1. Drive up through the feet. Come up to standing. Beautiful. Bringing the feet in closer together. We're going to do a few more hip rotations. Beautiful. From here, bringing the feet even closer together. You want your heels to be approximately underneath your shoulders. Toes are turned out 45 degrees. We're going to lower down our way into Malasana. Really nice work. As your seat lowers down, lifting through the chest, maintaining height in your torso. And with your arms pushed against the inner thighs, palms together, driving your chest forward here. Maybe a few neck rotations. Inhale up and over, exhale down and across. Switch to the other side. Taking your time. And then let's come back into middle, pausing, opening the eyes if they're closed, bringing the hands behind the body. As you bring your seat down, take the feet mat width distance, and we windshield wiper. Whew. Really great work today. Coming towards the end of the class as we transition back onto seated and lying down postures. Let's bring the soles of the feet together, setting up into Baddha Konasana as you let your knees come closer to the ground, lift into the chest. Maybe closing the eyes here, maybe staying upright, maybe folding forward, whichever feels best. Beautiful. Letting go of your feet. Let's bring the knees together. Take the hands behind the body, separate your feet, hip width distance, hands are behind you, fingers facing forward, push into the hands, push into the feet, lift up into reverse tabletop, lifting your chest and hips. Maybe the head drops back here for 3, 2, and 1. Easing your seat onto the mat. From here, you can keep the hands beside you as you lower your spine down. If you want, you can reach the arms forward and then maintaining control and strength as you lower your spine down. If you want, you can also lift your legs and really challenge your core. However you want to make it down onto your mat, it's totally fine. Once you find your head and shoulders are on the mat, lift the legs into the chest, wrap the arms around the shins. We're going to tuck into a tight ball. And then from here, easing your head and shoulders back down, arms come to rest beside the body, extending your legs up towards the sky. If you want to go further from this inversion, maybe coming into shoulder stand, feel free to lift your seat off the mat, bringing support for the low back. Pointing up through the toes. Maybe lowering your feet down behind you and plow. When we start to ease our way out of our chosen variation, into happy baby. Knees go wider than the chest, arms on the inside of your thighs, reach up to grab whatever you have access to, your feet, ankles, toes. Rocking side to side as your arms press against the inner thighs, rolling your tailbone down, lower back in contact with the mat. Back of the shoulders and head on the mat as well. Having some fun. And from here, if there's a particular finishing pose that you like to come into, you can go ahead and choose that option. If you're ready for Shavasana, taking up space on your mat, extending the arms and legs beside you. Feet go mat width distance. The outer edges roll outward. Arms are open beside the body with your palms facing up. And then modifying as needed. Getting relaxed, feeling supported on your mat. And closing the eyes when you feel ready. And everything that you had to do for your practice today has been completed. You can just let your body relax. Soften around the eyes and cheeks. Relaxing your jaw and throat. Letting the arms and shoulders melt into the mat. Feel your spine, your hips, finding support. As the legs get heavier, the ankles and toes relax. And let the benefits of your practice sink in while you rest in Shavasana. And start to bring awareness back into the body. Bring movement into the fingers and toes. Feeling the subtle movements that happen with each breath. You start to feel your whole body waking up from the inside out and from the outside in. And as you start to move the ankles and wrists, rotating the arms and legs, turning your head side to side. Come back to a neutral spine. Slide the feet together, lifting the arms up overhead. Take a nice big stretch as you inhale. And then relax into that space with the exhale. Placing your preferred head onto the belly. Bend the knees, turning over onto your side. And taking a moment, reflecting on your practice perhaps. Maybe expressing gratitude to yourself for making it to your mat. And then when you're ready, coming up into a comfortable seat with the eyes closed and the palms together at chest center. Noticing your breathing here, noticing how it feels to be inside your body in this moment. Thank you so much for joining in for today's practice. May the sense of peace and calmness stay with you, nourishing you and all those around you. Thank you. Namaste. Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.